What if you could literally change your reality just by changing your thoughts? Well, today we're diving into a spiritual philosophy that claims you absolutely can. We're going to break down its core ideas about ascension, what it says the destination is, and the path it lays out to actually get there.
So let's just start with the single biggest question this whole philosophy is built on. What if your entire reality, everything you see and feel, wasn't solid at all, but was really just a matter of frequency?
So yeah, today we're unpacking the core concepts from the writings of an author named Sufeng. He outlines this incredible path to achieving a higher state of being, all by changing your very essence, one vibration at a time.
Okay, so what's the foundational idea here? According to this material, everything in the universe, plants, animals, you, me, and even beings we can't even perceive, is operating on a very specific vibrational frequency. Think of it like this. It's not just about energy, it's about the speed of that energy. A tree has a lower frequency than an animal, right? And an animal is lower than a human. And we humans, well, we have a lower frequency than what the text calls a celestial being. The very shape and form that life takes is dictated by this speed.
And this whole vibrational state thing, it's not just some theory. It actually shows up in our emotions. The texts link these low-frequency states to feelings like distress, worry, and being stubborn. But high-frequency states, they manifest as joy, flexibility, and just that feeling of being blessed. Your feelings are basically a direct readout of your frequency.
So you might be wondering, if these higher-order beings exist, why can't we see them? The source material gives a fantastic analogy, dragonfly wings. When a dragonfly is still, you can see its wings, clear as day. But when it's flying at top speed, they just become a blur, almost invisible. The idea is that the same principle applies here. These higher vibrational forms are just moving at a frequency that's beyond our normal ability to see.
Okay, so if the whole point is to raise our vibration, where are we supposed to be headed? What's the destination? The writings call it becoming a celestial being. Let's really unpack what that means in this philosophy.
So, a celestial being is defined by a state of just absolute freedom. They're free from worry. They're not held back by their emotions, and they've let go of that need to control how things turn out. They just live in this state of acceptance and joy and flow, just following their destiny.
And here's where it gets really personal. The material doesn't just describe this state. It actually asks you to measure yourself against it. It poses the question directly to you, turning this abstract idea into a moment of real self-reflection.
And the checklist it gives you is incredibly simple. Basically, if you experience trouble, pain, fear, or even really strong desires, that's the human state. But if you're in a constant state of just pleasantness and bliss, well, that's the hallmark of a celestial.
All right, so how do you actually make this shift? The writings lay out a really clear path, and it all revolves around this central idea of progressive detachment.
The path is laid out in 3 main steps. It starts with you consciously deciding to abandon all those negative emotions. Then, you learn to stop your mind from getting attached to things, to become truly carefree. And the final step? You reach a state where your soul isn't bound by emotion at all, becoming one with nature itself.
Now, to make this huge transformation feel a bit more real, the source uses this powerful analogy. It asks us to imagine our current human life as being like a caterpillar's. Living in one dimension, just crawling along the ground.
The process of change, then, is the chrysalis. And the texts point out something fascinating. Inside that chrysalis, there isn't some tiny little caterpillar with wings growing. No, the old form completely dissolves into a kind of white paste. A total breakdown of the old self has to happen to make way for something completely new.
And that's what brings the whole analogy home. The butterfly isn't just an upgraded caterpillar. It's a completely different kind of being that has transcended its original dimension. It went from crawling to flight. That, right there, is the promised outcome of this whole spiritual transformation.
But wait, the path doesn't stop with just becoming a celestial. The writings talk about an even higher state of being, the Buddha state. And getting there means you have to embrace this ultimate concept of emptiness.
Now, emptiness here doesn't mean nothingness. It's not a void. It's actually the final gateway. It's described as a state of being completely selfless and without form, where your mind is finally free from all attachments, all concepts, and even the idea of a self. According to the text, this is the doorway to a much higher realm of existence.
And this leads to such a crucial point. Even this philosophy, this whole path,
is just a tool. The source quotes the Buddha, explaining that spiritual teachings, the Dharma, are like a raft you build to cross a river. But once you get to the other side, you don't keep carrying the raft with you, right? You let it go.
And that really brings us to our final thought. If the ultimate goal is to be free from all attachments, this philosophy is really pushing us to ask, what are the concepts, the beliefs, or even the spiritual tools in our own lives that we're clinging to? What boat might we need to abandon to truly reach the other shore?